Combs is a monster.
I want to speak about this now because I've witnessed everything.
I think Sean Combs can get away with anything.
I've known Sean since he was 4 years old. That's my little bro. He already knew what he wanted. I could be your manager, just give me a chance.
I went to a lot of puppy parties. These were the parties that you needed exclusive access to get into.
He thought that if people fear him, they respect him.
Honestly, I didn't want to be around him unless there was cameras.
Nobody shooting me. Nobody shooting me. Nobody shooting me.
When Puff was around, it was like, uh-oh, get it together or this could be over.
You got me acting crazy in front of all these people.
Something is not right with this.
I've been with Sean for quite a while, and I've captured a lot of moments. Anytime the studio or any rooms is red, it's making love and sex. Some of the ones who went in the room, for sure they were underage.
They said they could ship me off and sell me to anyone.
How did this superstar music mogul become an alleged monster?
And I can show you how we have fun and stay out of jail, too.
What's going on, kings and queens? It's your girl, Wisdom's daughter. Welcome back to the channel. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Miss Janice Combs because my question is, was Diddy groomed by his own mother? Janice has some girl got some things going on, so we're going to be talking about that. There's been a lot of talk about Diddy, but the question is, did Janice groom her own son? Right. So that's the topic for today. Janice Combs, the making of a bad boy. All right. So before we get into the next video, we're going to review a documentary that was done. It's very, very well done. And so I will be making some stops along the way for comment, but I will make the full documentary available, link down in the description box after the live. All right. So let's go. Nola Brown first up in the building. All right, with that beautiful avatar. What's going on, Queen? Listen to Me is in the building. Shout out to all the Wisdom ambassadors. And Listen to Me, thank you for being a member. Nestle Shackle Shuffle Walk of Shame is in the building. Said good evening, everyone. Zen Soul said it's Magnificent Monday WD and is wishing everyone a happy Monday. Kia Elders in the building said Kinfolk WD and Mons, good evening. All right, Mons is here in the building. What's going on? Madison James is here. Kia said I was waiting for someone to bring up his mother. I have been wanting to do this story on Janice Combs for quite some time, and you know, I was trying to not reinvent the wheel and to find an interesting documentary. I could have put something together, but I mean, it would have taken me months without a production team. And so I actually found something that was quite interesting. All right. And so the banner will be up in terms of fair use, just so that, you know, when we do get to that documentary, it may not necessarily represent absolute facts. This is for entertainment purposes only. So just keep that in mind. Real VB is in the building. Okay. She is ready. Jammy Jam is in the building, and shout out to those of you who are in the bushes. All right. So let's go. I want you guys to give me your thoughts down in the comments as we go through this live. And if you're hearing what sounds like a storm, it is storming. And so hopefully the internet connection holds up. I did not want to postpone this live because I wanted to do this live like 2 weeks ago, honestly. So we're going to work through it. It's raining, but yeah, so many of you are familiar. You may have seen this, this infamous photo, all right, of Diddy kissing his mama on the lips. And we're gonna get back to this photo in a second, because I'm gonna tell you like this: they don't look like mother and son. They don't look like mother and son. Janice Combs looks damn good for her age, but we're asking the question tonight, and we're gonna do a poll: was Diddy groomed by his own mother? And basically what got Diddy to where he is now, because this didn't just happen overnight. Diddy didn't just like suddenly turn crazy. The guy from what I've seen has been through a lot. But Janice looks good. But now the question is, do you think it's possible she might have like been wrestling under the covers and fighting over the Frosty Flakes with her son? I'm just saying, because that's what Diddy claimed he did with Usher. Okay, he claimed that him and Usher was wrestling under the covers and they was fighting over the Frosty Flakes. So I'm just saying, was Janice Combs wrestling under the sheets with her own son? Linda is in the building. Let me know what you think, because I'm not sure. But anyway, we're gonna get into all that and more. No intro. We're gonna go straight into this story. So make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button for you.
Yeah, my mom's a single. Mom do know how to have a good time. And she ain't sitting in the house playing. Outside moving and shaking, baby. She come with me to strip club. I don't care. Real.
I love you.
Love you too.
Diddy is a monster, but a monster isn't born on their own. Meet his mother, Janice Combs. She's always by her son's side, whether it's in the courtroom, at his parties, in the bedroom, or even at the strip club. There's something very weird about Diddy's relationship with his mother, so let's get into it. Diddy has always been thankful for his mother for putting in that work and raising him alone. He actually appreciated her by making her his restaurant manager, which I'm like, oh no, putting her to work. Briefly owned the Mama Duke Southern Cuisine restaurant between 2001 and 2005 and made TV appearances on shows like America's Next Top Model. And Janice originally told Diddy that his father died in a car accident, but when Diddy got older, he discovered that Melvin, his father, was actually a drug dealer who had been shot. Diddy only found out that his father died from a gunfight when he started school at Howard University and looked up his dad's name in the school's library. In October 2013, Diddy told Revolt that his father was a hustler, which led him to learn early in life there were only two ways out of a life of drug dealing, either dead or in jail.
All right, that was courtesy of Sloan from Facebook. I believe he also has a YouTube channel. Before we get into this documentary, there are some photos that I want to actually show you guys. So some of you may remember this. This was a live that Diddy did where he's kissing his mama on the lips. Okay, now here you can really see that he did kiss her on the lips. Okay, but I also want to bring your attention to this. Do you guys see this IV drip? Okay, don't get distracted by the little white trees. Okay, that was cute. You got the greenery back here. You got these white tree branches, but that is an IV drip. You can see the little light green connector. Okay, so here he is joking with his mama. Okay, up to IV drips. Okay. Oh my gosh, Diddy. Here is another clip. Okay, after the brags that he goes to strip clubs with his 83-year-old mama. Okay, now let me just say, hold on, let me just go back a second. Yeah, so those of you who missed it, here is the IV. There's the drip there. All right, and storming a little bit, but as long as my connection, all right. Now let me just say this: I did kiss my own dad on the lips up until the day that he died. I was actually with my father when he took his last breath. He was on life support at the time, and unfortunately, we had no choice but to take him off. And so I was actually with him. So I always kissed my dad on the lips, a quick smooch. It wasn't ever weird for me, okay? But I wasn't going to the strip club with my dad. My biological father, okay, is now. So when I talk about my dad, I mean dad pops, but I'm referring to my biological father. So here he's talking about Mom Dukes is single, ready to mingle, okay? And she like going to the strip club. It's a hot mess, okay? The other thing, now look at this here, okay? Who's 80-year-old mama? This was just 3 years ago. So Jan was 7, she was 80 years old. I'm not mad at it, okay? She looked good, but ain't no way. Ain't no way. Okay, some of y'all remember this. They was partying. This was another IV drip moment. All right. Diddy was talking about his mama can palm the floor and palm the floor. Okay. Almost every photo you're gonna they smooching. Okay. So he smooch on his mama a lot. And I'm just wondering, I'm saying, did she groom him? And I believe that she did. Now, you guys are going to tell me what you think after we go through this documentary. And as a matter of fact, we're going to look at the early life of Janice Combs, okay? And then after that, we're going to look at Diddy's life from him being a child all the way up until how he ended up with Bad Boy Records in the first place. All right. So that's what we're going to do. So that being said, let me stop sharing for a moment. Right. Let me pull up a couple of things as you guys come into the room. And don't be afraid. If you guys are in the bushes, go ahead and comment and let me know that you guys are here. Jerome Street is in the building giving me a salute. Thank you so much. Jam said, what is this from? I'm not sure. Jam, you have to clarify your question. I'm not sure. But the clippings, the photos that I just showed, that was a live that Diddy did, I believe, on Instagram. It's all over TikTok. I can't show it of music background, and that would be a problem with YouTube. They would to remove it. And Jerome Street said, kissing cousins. Well, I guess they kissing mama and son. I mean, ugh. Clearly, there might be incest going on, allegedly. I gotta say allegedly, right? So I don't get in trouble. All right, let me pull up the first mini doc. I'm calling it a mini doc. Let me pull up the first one that we're going to look at, and then we'll get into the alleged whole story that led to Diddy's downfall. Okay, so that's what we're going to do.
Janice Combs was born as Janice Smalls on December 21st, 1940, and raised in Harlem, New York. Her burial was in a transitional time. The Harlem Renaissance was winding down, and the modern civil rights movement had yet to gain traction. She has said, "Harlem is my heritage. It's my home. I love Harlem and will always love Harlem. It raised me." Her mother, Jessie Smalls, raised her as a single parent. Janice affectionately called her Mama Duke. Jessie was a talented seamstress who worked in a New York garment factory. She would make custom clothing for her family, and the Smalls were fashion influencers in their section of Harlem. Janice said she worked in factories and they had these big bins of fabric they would throw away. She would take the scraps and make clothes for us. Once, as a kid, she made me a whole outfit, a coat and a dress out of tapestry. And she made me a blood red dress with 3 layers of ruffles on it. The other kids always thought we were rich. Jessie was also a grand hostess. Janice would watch her mother and grandmother spend Saturday afternoons preparing food for the next day. Jessie served elaborate Sunday dinners as a fundraiser for their Baptist church, dreaming of one day opening a restaurant. After Janice finished high school, she pursued a modeling career. Sometime in the 1960s, Janice met and married Melvin Combs. Known for his good looks and style, he was nicknamed Pretty Melvin. He worked for the New York City Board of Education and had a limousine service, often acting as a chauffeur to the infamous Frank Lucas. Janice and Melvin quickly bonded over their love for fine living. She recalled how they met, saying, "He was a street man, a hustling ma. We met at a party in the Bronx. He used to love to dance. We used to crack up on him because he used to think he was the baddest thing."
Does that sound familiar, y'all? That sounds just like Diddy, okay? Jerome said his daddy definitely has that Diddy head, absolutely. But you're going to see a photo in a little bit that really, really looks like Diddy. But yeah, Diddy very much has his father's mannerisms. He likes to dance. You can't tell Diddy that he ain't the baddest dancer on earth. But anyway, so if you guys missed that, Janice, you know, her mother was a streamstress, and she was really good at what she did. She made all their clothes to the point where they thought, you know, Janice Smalls, because that's her maiden name, that she was rich. So Diddy had, well, let's talk about Janice first. Janice had a very good upbringing. Now she got into modeling, okay, and we all know what can happen with, especially with young models. They end up going to some fake agency who says, well, listen, if you're willing to take off your clothes, you can make even more money. So I'm just saying, Janice got into modeling, but we're going to learn what that modeling was really all about.
When I see my son on television, it reminds me of Melvin so much. The son she spoke of, Sean John Combs, was born on November 4th, 1969. In 1971, they had a daughter named Keisha. The family owned a Mercedes-Benz and stepped out in the latest fashion. Melvin envisioned his family in entertainment. He booked Sean for a Baskin-Robbins commercial when he was 2.
John, he had a great personality, and
look at baby Diddy. He was so cute. So I don't know if you guys knew that he started in the entertainment industry when he was just a baby. Okay, he did the Baskin-Robbins commercial, but look at how cute Diddy was. Diddy was adorable.
Speak very well at an early age, and people thought he was like a little dwarf or something because he was just talking and talking and talking and talking.
Melvin also took to the streets for extra cash, and it cost him his life. He violently passed away on January 26, 1972, while sitting in his car in Central Park West. Over the years, when asked about the nature of Melvin's passing, Janice would respond, "That was in the past." She was also protective over her children knowing the truth. She told them Melvin passed away in his car, leaving the children to assume it was a car accident. It wasn't until Sean was a teenager he discovered the truth. After Melvin passed, Janice promised herself 2 things. She and her children would not be homeless, and they would not go on welfare. She also wanted the children to maintain a certain lifestyle, saying, "I wanted to take my kids to plays and out to dinner and to buy extra uniforms, extra shoes."
And there is nothing wrong with that. Janice Combs was like, look, we are not going to be poor. We are not going to be broke. So as you can see, Janice really kind of raised Diddy to be, I don't want to say materialistic, but she definitely raised him with that high luxury lifestyle. Okay. You like luxury? Diddy likes luxury. She kind of raised him with that from a child. I don't know if those are the right kind of values to instill, you know, in a child necessarily, depending on how you do it. But, you know, Diddy was exposed to a lot. Diddy tries to make it seem like, you know, he grew up, you know, in the worst neighborhood. He was a gangbanger. Diddy grew up bougie. Let's just be clear. And there's nothing wrong with that. He didn't grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth per se, but he definitely was raised very well.
At the time, she and the children lived in an apartment on Harlem's legendary Lenox Avenue, also known as Malcolm X Boulevard. As she rebuilt their lives, she and the children moved in with her mother Jessie in Esplanade Gardens, a middle-class housing complex in Harlem. Sean has said throughout the years that Janice and Jessie stressed the importance of God in his life and provided him with structure.
Well, the only guy we've seen lately is when he be hanging out with T.D. Jakes. But anyway.
Initially, Janice was a part-time assistant teacher at the Association of Black Social Workers Daycare Center in Harlem. To really make ends meet, she took on a second job where she cared for children with cerebral palsy at night. She later got a third job where she drove a school bus during the day. Her mother tended to the children while she worked. Even though she grinded from one job to the next, she tried to introduce other children to her flair.
So that's where Diddy gets his drive from. I just want to address a really good question in the chat. Hold on one second. So Zenso was asking, did Janice have work done? I don't know. This pic don't look like her, in my opinion. There have been rumors that Janice Combs is not Diddy's biological mom. Now, you guys probably saw, which Tyler Perry movie was it, where Bow Wow learned that his mother that he thought was his mother was really his grandmother, and who he thought was his sister was really his mama. It was one of the Tyler Perry movies. I'm not sure which one. I think it was one of the Tyler Perry movies. But anyway, but there's been rumors that Janice Combs is not his biological, mother. That, so I don't know. They're just rumors. I can't. All right. Jerome said, let me just read it. He's so funny. He said, delete this message if it ruffles feathers. But if your mother is a boss chick and you grew up around that as a single mother, 50 Cent was the same. No, you bring up a good point. And 50 Cent and Diddy, two different, ends of the spectrum, both very talented, but one is clearly a predator. Jerome said, if mama is a pimp, it's a different game. Well, we're going to get into all that because, like I said, this is just giving us some background on Janice Combs, but we're going to get into the nitty gritty. Okay. Trying to figure out how Diddy got to be where did he learn this from? And we can't blame it all on Janice, as we're going to learn in the other documentary. There may have been others involved, but it definitely started with Janice Combs. Because if you heard in the beginning intro, when the live started, one of his childhood friends said that when he went to the house, she was having freak offs. So Diddy learned freak offs from his mama when he was a small child. And now there was always naked people running around, and it was nothing for them to go into one of the rooms and see people having threesomes and foursomes. This is in the Peacock documentary. Those of you who have a membership on Peacock.
Will put on fashion shows at her daycare job. She emphasized etiquette when she drove her school bus route.
Not fashion shows at the daycare center. What the hell going on here? She having fashion shows at the daycare. She driving school buses. All right, Janice.
Saying, when I told them, sit down, they sat down. A lot of them use profanity. I checked that out right away. She would give the children candy for good behavior and teach them to apologize to each other. But her own son was showing his temper at home. She first began calling him Puffy because he would huff and puff when he became angry.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm laughing for two reasons. All right. One, because his little sister looks like me when I was little. Okay. Matter of fact, give me a second. Let me take a screenshot. I'm going to take a screenshot of it, and I will post a picture of me when I was little on my community wall. Okay. And then y'all can tell me if y'all think when I was little, I looked like Diddy's little sister. Okay. Now I already expect the jokes. I already know they coming. Okay. And that's all right. Cause I'm walking into this one with my eyes wide open. But anyway, so that's where Puffy's name came from. Okay. Because he used to, he want to huff and puff and blow the house down. So she called him Puffy. That's cute.
As he got older, his peers also called him Puffy to tease him about his size. No matter where he went, the name stuck. She also kept Puffy close around the entertainment industry, such as modeling and publications like Essence magazine.
Dressed to impress.
He was a superstar then. That's the super fly look with his big hat and his big collar.
Janice didn't want her kids in the streets, but she wanted to make sure they could survive them. In a 2006 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Puffy recalled how his mother cultivated the hustler in him. Jesse sent 9-year-old Puffy on a store run, but someone stole the money along the way. He said, quote, "My mother wouldn't let me in the house. She said, go back out there and get that money, and if anyone ever puts their hands on you, make sure they never do it again." She knew the reality. If people smell weakness, they take advantage of you. You have to defend yourself. End quote. She enrolled Puffy in the Fresh Air Fund, a program that allows underserved New York City youth to go to a summer camp. Puffy went to Pennsylvania to live with an Amish family, which he loved.
Amish family. First of all, okay. I know people who participate in the Fresh Air Fund. Okay, it's supposed to be for those in the underserved community. Janice Combs was, or I should say Smalls, because no, she was Combs at this point. Anyway, Janice Combs she was kind of living a little bit large. They wasn't broke. Okay, so it's interesting. I don't know how she was able to financially qualify for the Fresh Air Fund, but anyway, but that's cute. So Diddy went from one environment to another environment. Now he's living for a whole summer with an Amish family. That's really interesting.
He said he was thankful his mother gave him these kinds of experiences because it made him versatile and kept him busy. Janice also loved to dance with her children. She would purchase the latest records and they would live vicariously through the music. Her job at United Cerebral Palsy had her switch locations, and she and the children moved to Mount Vernon, New York, a suburb right outside the Bronx, in 1982. She never wanted the children to feel less than others. When she noticed their white neighbors never invited Puffy to their home to swim, she made a point to get a pool larger than theirs. She enrolled Puffy at Mount St. Michael Academy, an all-boys Catholic school in the Bronx.
All right, I'm going to pause there for a second, okay? I need y'all to put a pin right there. She enrolled him in St. Michael's all-boys Catholic high school, okay? Some of y'all know where I'm going with this because you know the history and what happened at St. Michael's, okay? And it's alleged that what happened at that high school happened around the time that Diddy was there. Y'all remember the whole scandal with the Catholic Church and the parochial system, and it went all the way back to the Vatican about what these priests were doing? Okay? Wait a minute. Hold on one second. Jerome Street said he is a heck of a hustler, but too much of a freak, and he better not have had anything to do with Big or Tupac. Hold tight, Jerome, because the next documentary is going to address that. This one is short. The next one's going to be a little bit longer. I heard the people his daddy ran with was his benefactor. Anyway, yes, Catholic school. Y'all already know. But anyway, let's keep going.
Telling him, go to school, pay close attention to your teachers if you want to be a millionaire. He graduated from high school in 1987 and immediately enrolled in Howard University in Washington, D.C. Puffy loved D.C., but he could not resist New York's vibrant hip-hop scene. He scored a job at Uptown Records, and the demands became so much he felt the unction to quit school. Janice was against Puffy dropping out of Howard to work full-time at Uptown, but she couldn't deny his passion. She mourned his decision. She told The New Yorker in a September 2002 interview, "I really was so disappointed about that. A person works day and night just to educate a kid and to be able to have a roof over your head in a school uniform."
I know that's right. Now let's see who's in this picture. Okay, I see Heavy D. That's a young Mary J. Blige. All right, there go Puffy. That looks like I'll Be Sure, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure who this is because they look real young. But this was Uptown Records, and this looked like one of the dudes from Jodeci. I'm not sure, but if you guys recognize everyone in this photo or anyone in this photo, y'all could throw it up in the chat.
He was a fine student, and when he left college, it was hard for me. Despite her concerns, she still supported her son. She also served as Puffy's stylist, alongside his girlfriend at the time, Misa Hilton. Janice lovingly called Misa her daughter-in-law. Janice and Jesse helped Puffy navigate the City College Stampede tragedy, where he was accused of liability for the demise of 9 people and injuries to dozens more.
Now, Puffy never served any time for that incident at all. Christopher Williams, thank you. Never served any time for that incident as well. We're going to come back to that. We will definitely come back to that. Lisa Hinton, this is the one who showed up to Diddy's trial in a walker. Okay, let's keep going.
Ability for the demise of 9 people and injuries to dozens more. They reinforced their commitment to him when he was fired from Uptown Records and was forced to take BADBOY Records with him. Janice was by his side when Arista Records agreed to serve as the new parent company in 1993. Just as Bad Boy was finding its footing, her mother, Jessie Smalls, passed in 1994 at the age of 72. Janice sunk into a deep depression. She went into a cycle that lasted for years, cooking her mother's soul food favorites, eating compulsively, constantly reading literature, and sleeping. One day, after suddenly realizing her weight gain, she decided to reclaim her life. Janice transformed into a hip-hop luminary just as Puffy emerged as a solo rap star. She restyled her...
And I don't know if she is tummy tucked over there, but anyway, she decided to reinvent herself. Okay, I guess that's where the blonde wigs came in. Look at Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim was so pretty. Okay, she was beautiful before the surgery, but this is where she needed to stop. Right here, you good. She needed to do nothing else.
Herself like a black Donatella Versace, coiffed in platinum blonde hair and draped in diamonds and fitted designer fashion. As Puffy prospered, he immediately showered his mother with these new riches. She said he didn't want us to want for nothing, no time, because he could see the struggle. Puffy opened a restaurant, Justin's, in New York in 1997, and Janice served as the manager.
By the way, the food was terrible. I'm going to tell y'all right now. The food was horrible at that restaurant. Anyway.
In 1999, Puffy was awarded the Howard University Alumni Award for Distinguished Postgraduate Achievement in the Field of Entertainment. During the ceremony, he presented Howard with a $500,000 check, then the largest single donor gift in school history. The check was used to establish the Sean Puffy Combs and Janice Combs Endowed Scholarship Fund to help students wanting to pursue careers in the entertainment industry. Later that year, when Puffy informed Janice he was being charged in relation to a New York nightclub ruckus, she was vacationing in his $2.5 million four-bedroom home in the Hamptons.
Okay, I want y'all to pay attention to those dates. Let me just roll it back just a second. Pay attention to the dates that you see on the screen. This is 1999, right? Because when we look at some of the victim accusations and what they allege, some of that was already going on by this time. Okay, and here go Janice, Diddy and them looking like, anyway. I can't be mad at her for wanting her son to be successful, but at what cost?
In his $2.5 million four-bedroom home in the Hamptons. It is the same home where he first hosted his legendary white parties. She admitted that in her solitude, she had a nervous breakdown behind the news, but she was determined to help Puffy clear his name. In 2001, the New York Times profiled Janice as she supported Puffy during his trial. She bragged, "Sean has manners. He knows the right thing to do. I can pat myself on the back. I can pat anything on me." Before the New York criminal trial, Puffy had already been involved in several run-ins in the music industry. When questioned about these incidents, she said, "He knows what his mistakes was, and he takes care of all those things. That was in the past, and no one wants to bring those things up again." Janice faithfully attended court hearings, often bringing a brown bag lunch she had packed for Puffy. Despite her previous fears, she on her poker face with the press. She said, "Do I look worried or upset?"
Well, apparently she was worried and upset if she had a whole nervous breakdown. So you guys remember when Janice Combs was in the hospital and they were kind of like faking the funk behind why she was in the hospital? Well, now we know the reason why she was in the hospital. He said she was having heart trouble, but some of it had to do with his legal issues. And some of it had to do with the fact that, they kind of knew that some of this was about to come down on him. So anyway, there go Diddy and his mama, boy. I tell you. Y'all tell me if this look normal. And anyway, we got a poll going. So only 20 of y'all voted. Make sure y'all participate. Did Janice Combs groom Diddy? 90% of y'all said yes and 10% said no. All right, let's go.
He's not going to be found guilty, so my mind don't go in that direction. Not at all. After a lengthy trial, the jury returned a not guilty verdict. After the trial, she opened her own restaurant, Mama Juke's Southern Cuisine, in the Boerum Hill neighborhood of Brooklyn. The establishment was a fulfillment of her mother's dream, and the food selection came from her mother's recipes. Her business acumen didn't end with restaurants. There has been much conversation around her involvement with Bad Boy's music publishing and that Puffy has his assets in her name. Certainly, I do not know their business portfolios. What I did do is conduct a New York State business search of some business entities associated with Janice.
Pause right here. Okay, Janice Combs Music Holdings, Inc., Domestic Business Corporation. Okay, and the date of filing was October of 1994. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, and then the CEO is listed as Sean Combs. Interesting.
For example, Janice Combs Music Holdings Incorporated lists Puffy as his CEO. This same entity sometimes does business as Justin Combs Publishing. Now, I am not here to discount the business interactions former Bad Boy artists or employees have had with Janice. I just went where my research took me. But her presence as a socialite and maternal reinforcer turned her into a music industry archetype. Take, for example, Bling, a 2004 New York Times bestseller by Erica Kennedy. The book offers a fictionalized insight into the people and institutions who uphold the hip-hop hierarchies. And sometimes, mothers play their part. Now, I am not going to spoil the story for anyone who has not read it, but there is one character in particular who leaps off the page as analogous to Janice Combs. She appeared on TV shows like America's Next Top Model and her sons Making the Band and I Want to Work for Diddy. On a more personal note, she has been skeptical about dating men, often questioning their intentions. She decided to focus on family and her social life. She loves being a grandmother, known to her grandchildren as Mimi. A couple of fun facts. She shares the same birthday as Puffy and Kim Porter's twins, and the youngest twin, Jessie, is named after her mother. She has been by Puffy's side during many of his highs.
My question is, why is Puffy always kissing on his mama? Always. Like, he has to make it a point in front of cameras to kiss his mama on the lips in front of everybody. It's definitely not normal. Okay. And I took the volume off of this because it's just really loud. It's definitely not normal. But anyway, we're almost done.
Now you might say, wait a minute, she has 2 kids. What about Keisha? Well, Keisha is incredibly private. What we do know is she has been married and has at least 1 child. According to the aforementioned New York Times article in her LinkedIn, she has worked in technology for Bad Boy roughly 25 years. This brings us to the current predicament Puffy finds himself in. While we do not yet know...
Okay, so I'm going to pause here and we're going to switch to the other documentary because this documentary was made prior to the trial and we're kind of already caught up on there. So that's just a little bit of insight. Now, that's one side of it. What we're going to listen to now is going to be quite different from what we just heard. We're going to go more into what happened with Diddy. How did he end up at Bad Boy in the first place? And some of the other things that happened with him and to him along the way. And like I said, this is an opinion channel. It doesn't mean that what's being said is necessarily based on facts. So I just need to kind of put that out there just to make sure that we are all on the same page. So just assume that everything is alleged. All right. So this documentary is titled The Alleged Whole Story That Led Diddy to His Downfall, courtesy of Ashley Says So. All right. So that's who we're going to be getting into on right now. All right. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this up. Okay. And then I'll take it down as we're going forward.
So how does a man get this sadistic? How does a man turn into a monster of this caliber? Could it be that this man was brought into the industry by a bunch of people who were monsters themselves? What's up? What it do, Says So Squad and Scandalites, as well as everybody else. This is Combs was born on November the 4th. Combs was born on November the 4th, 1969 in Harlem, New York. His mother's name is Janice Combs and his father's name was Melvin Earl Combs. And gossip claims that Janice and Melvin were 2 kids from the ghetto who dreamed of an easy life full of fine things. Now, Melvin started off by going to the military, but when he came back home, allegedly, he decided to sell drugs. Now, although Diddy likes to say that his daddy was as big as Frank Lucas and Nicky Barnes, child, the streets say that Melvin wasn't nowhere near as big as all that. But whatever amount of money he touched, it was enough to catch the eye of a girl that was well known across the city, and that was his future wife, Janice. Gossip claims that Janice was a girl who felt like she could use what she got to get herself to the easy life. And baby, if you thinking Janice was one of these Rudy Pooty $40 hoes, oh honey, you got another thing coming. Janice knew how to enterprise, and she set her stuff up like a business. Stories say that she used to kind of have a makeshift ghetto modeling agency. And so she used to throw these fashion shows and she would recruit beautiful girls around town to walk in these fashion shows.
Not the ghetto fashion show. Yeah, Ashley Says So is hilarious. Much different narration from the first documentary, right? She is funny as hell. And yeah, she was recruiting girls, all right, and they was having fashion shows at the daycare center. I can't.
But see, that ain't where the big money came in at. The money would come in when politicians or celebrities or big time basketball players, boxers, whoever it might be, when they would come into town and throw parties, and they used to contact Janice to bring in her models to walk around the parties, dance, flirt with people, things like that. But rumor has it the big money came in when those girls did a little bit more than dancing and flirting, if you know what I mean. But allegedly one of those models who did a little bit more than flirting and dancing was underage. And so the folks say Janice packed up shop, child, and never threw a fashion show or provided entertainment for a party ever again. And rumor has it, when you look up Janice's occupation history and it says something about her being a model, this is what people are referring to. So anyway, while Janice's alleged moneymaker occupation got shut down, Melvin was still rolling on with his. And by the year 1971, he was doing so well where he wasn't bringing in money like Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas, but he definitely was able to come in the room with them, especially Frank Lucas. He was actually rumored to be a very close associate to Frank Lucas. But sadly, by the year 1972, Melvin Earl Combs was murdered. Now, most people believe that Melvin was murdered because he was a snitch. But some people who are allegedly in the know of the real reason said that Melvin was actually murdered for messing with somebody else's woman. Now that's a bombshell already, but what makes this story even more of a bombshell is that allegedly Janice was the one who set Melvin up. See, these people said that Melvin was cheating on Janice with a 22-year-old woman by the name of Cassandra or Corman. And she was upset that Melvin wouldn't leave her alone. And so that next night when Melvin left to go see the girl, Janice called the girl's boyfriend and told him that Melvin was over his girl's house. And that hustler caught Melvin sitting inside of his car outside of that girl's apartment and walked up to him and put 2 bullets in his head. But the...
Ooh, baby. Now look here. I heard this on the streets, okay? I had to put up my allegedly, okay? Jerome Street said Dapper Dan said all of this. Okay, so Janice partially told the truth that Melvin was unalived by being shot while he was sitting in his car, but that wasn't the whole story. So as you guys have heard, there's been rumors that it was a rug deal gone wrong. Okay, but it could have been that he was creeping. Okay, he was creeping with somebody else's wife, and Janice was like, "Look here. Your wife is with my husband, and this is where they at." And she thinking he just gonna rough him up a little bit, but he put 2 in him and said, "Night, night."
Folks say that Janice thought that the boyfriend was just gonna kick down the door and start beating up Melvin. She had no idea that that boyfriend was gonna take it that far and actually kill Melvin. So per the rumor or the story, this is why Janice left Harlem as soon as Melvin passed away, because she was allegedly afraid of how people were going to react when they found out that she was the one who gave Melvin's location away. It's already some mess, but let's go ahead and get back to Diddy, because gossip claims he was 3 years old when his father passed away. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but he also had a little sister, and she was only a few months old. And when Diddy became of age to go to school, she either used a large portion of money that she had saved to get him into a Catholic school called Mount St. Michael, or someone from the school, Mount St. Michael, came to Janice and offered Diddy free tuition. Whichever one of those is true, Diddy did end up attending this Catholic school.
Janice probably traded some favors for that tuition. I'm just saying. That's alleged, okay? I don't have any factual basis for that, but it sounds like something she would do. She probably got some girls and was like, look here, I'm going to bring you all the girls that you want. You like boys? I'll bring you some boys too, but I need my son's tuition taken care of. Anyway, that's my opinion.
And he was such a favorite there that he served as an altar boy. He built a lot of special relationship with a lot of the priests and clergy there. He also was on the football team. And here's where things get strange, because you see, Mount St. Michael has a reputation for multiple sexual abuse allegations. And from the articles online, the abuse was especially prevalent in the 1970s, which was the time that Diddy was attending.
Outspoken GAY Catholic priest Bernard Lynch, accused of SA, occurred in 1978, assaulting a student at the Bronx school 4 decades ago. 24 who say they were SA'd as boys at the Mount St. John Academy in Deep River. Ooh, baby. Ex-assistant principal of Bronx Catholic School gets no jail deal. Allegations of misconduct against Brother Gordon. I don't know who Brother Gordon is, but make sure y'all stay away from Brother Gordon, okay? Because he got problems, allegedly.
Matter of fact, the abuse was so much that Diddy graduated from the school in 1987. Well, here's an article from 1988 where somebody was accusing one of the priests there of messing with them. So the whole thing kind of makes you wonder, does that have any ties to the situation that Diddy is in today? But let's move on. So after Diddy graduated high school in 1987, he went to Howard University for a little while, and somehow while he was attending there, he started to have close ties with the rapper Heavy D. And once Diddy found out that Heavy D was signed to a label called Uptown Records, and Uptown Records was headed by a black man by the name of Andre Harrell, Diddy started begging and pleading to Heavy D to set him up a meeting with Andre Harrell. And gossip claims after Diddy's first meeting with Andre Harrell, Andre was so impressed that he immediately let Diddy come in as an intern. And soon after that, Diddy became the A&R person for the company.
So he started as an intern. Once again, y'all, at some point, y'all could do the replay and roll it back to the very beginning of the live. There was a video where you heard him saying, come on, man, just bring me on. Like, I can do this. I can be manager. Like, make me a manager, right? He started as an intern. Then he became A&R, okay?
But the messy streets say intern, A&R, blah, blah, blah. Child, these folks say all of that was just fancy words for side chick. Baby, the folks say within a short period of time, Diddy ended up moving in Andre Harrell's house. Andre bought Diddy a car, bought Diddy all type of jewelry.
Whoa. Slow down, Ashley. Say it ain't so, but she said it is so. Skirt, pump your brakes. So, does that sound familiar? Because did he invite Usher to live with him? Okay, first of all, Usher went to Puffy Flavor Camp. Diddy Flavor Camp. Okay, that's what he went to. I don't know if Diddy was into the baby oil back then, okay? But Puffy Flavor Camp had him living in his house, okay? Did he not bring Justin Bieber to stay with him for 48 hours talking about, I'm not his guardian, but I got him for 48 hours and he knows better than to talk about what we be doing? Did he not promise Justin Bieber a car, showed him the car and like, yeah, when you turn 16, this gonna be you. You know what I'm saying? This house right here, you gonna have this house and all of that. Okay? Yes, Zen Soul is like, yikes. Yeah. Okay? All of the stuff that Diddy has been doing, he was groomed for. I believe when it comes to the freak offs, he was exposed to that because of what his mom did, her occupation. She provided the hoes. Okay, you had a party, she was bringing the hoes. Okay, so you have, modern day, 2000s, whatever, women is dancing in the club, but women also did private parties. Well, that's all Janice did. Janice had her own version of freak offs, and that's how she made her money. She basically ran a whorehouse. I'm just saying. Okay, and Jamie Jam said Evil Cycles, and Zen Soul said yes, WD. Okay, it's coming full circle. The apple does not fall far from the tree. Kids do not do what you say, they do what you do. I'm just saying, because Mama Combs told Diddy to finish college. He had a scholarship, or you know, he attended Howard, and he didn't want to finish. He didn't want to finish school at Howard. He wanted to do what his mama was doing. Jerome said, I'm surprised his sister and mother are alive. I think he would do anything. But anyway, so now when you piece together what Diddy was doing and where this came from, he learned this first from his mama and then through the industry. Because why would Harold bring Diddy to live in his house? Why is he buying Diddy cars? Why is he setting up? You know what I'm saying? So basically, Diddy was his man whore, allegedly.
And most people don't know if Andre kind of forced Diddy to become this for him in order to move up in the music industry, or if Diddy was just cool with being this anyway and nobody forced him into anything. Whatever the case may be, all I know is that rumors on the streets is that Diddy and Andre Harrell were lovers. And according to the rumor, Diddy was able to go to Uptown Records and do whatever the heck he wanted to do. That is until he put together a celebrity charity basketball game using the name Uptown Records, and 9 people ended up passing away. And what happened was Diddy sold tickets to 5,000 people to come to the basketball game, but the gym only held a capacity of 2,300 people.
Do y'all remember this? Some of y'all are from New York. And as a matter of fact, hold up a second, because where's she at? I just saw her. That girl repping BK New York. Girl, I know you remember this. Do you remember the gym event? Okay, now I think this was I would have been in high school at the time. I would have just started high school. So, but yeah, she says I remember. And I could have easily been there. I wasn't. I'm pretty sure that I knew about it back then. I remember this. And it was probably one of them times where I was like, Mama, I want to go to this. And she was like, no, it's school night. You ain't going, type of situation. And I'm glad I listened to my mama. Okay. But anyway, this is the incident I was talking about where he was never charged, never indicted, didn't do any jail. He was never held responsible for what he did. So let's find out what had happened was.
People. And so when they opened up the doors for people to come in, everybody wanted to come in and make sure they got a seat. And there ended up being a stampede where 9 people lost their lives. And this is where things got kind of bumpy with Diddy at Uptown Records, because he found out very quickly that Andre Harrell might have been his boss, but he definitely was not the boss of all bosses. Because see, Andre may have owned Uptown, but he also had some partners, and those execs were not happy at all with this tragedy, because now they were being involved in different lawsuits. You know, law enforcement were looking into things, just bringing too much heat. And so they basically made Andre Harrell tighten the reins on Diddy. And Diddy, who was used to getting his way at Uptown Records, who was used to doing whatever he wanted to do, now started hearing the word no a whole lot. Matter of fact, the very last no that he heard was when he tried to bring on Notorious B.I.G. and the people at MCA said no. Andre went back to the execs at MCA and told them, well, since y'all are so scared to have this new rapper Notorious B.I.G. to be signed under the Uptown label, how about y'all give Diddy his own label? And that's how Bad Boy Records got started. All these stories about how Diddy got fired from Uptown Records and became a Superman and started hustling and from the ground up built his own label and all that stuff, baby, it didn't go down like that. Bad Boy was a satellite company, kind of like an umbrella company that was up under another company. In the link in the top comment, Andre Harrell even said this himself. He and his partners gave Diddy the money to start up Bad Boy. They even gave him a stipend account where he would have money for signing bonuses for his new artists. But anyway, Diddy gets his own label Bad Boy, and now we're gonna start getting into some of the scandal. Because as soon as Diddy started Bad Boy Records, he started to behave like he was untouchable. But as we move along in this video, you'll start to realize that he was untouchable. when he was committing crimes for the people. See, the conspiracy theories say that one of the things that Diddy had to agree to and become in order to get his own label was a hitman of sorts. He had to be willing to put in any work that the big people behind the scenes wanted him to handle. And allegedly, one of the very first handlings was Tupac. See, according to the conspiracy theories, a few years before Tupac died, him and the rapper Eazy-E started to get calls from a certain organization telling them that somebody was trying to murder them. But this organization also told Tupac and Eazy-E that they could stop the murders from happening. All Tupac and Eazy-E needed to do was pay them some protection money. Well, rumor has it, Eazy-E and Tupac realized that this was a shakedown. What?
I'm gonna see if I can read this. Let me see if I can read it. All right, it says, and others you identified have been extorting money from various rap music stars via death threats. The scheme involves Blank and other subjects making telephonic threats, unaliving threats, to the rap star. Subjects then intercede by contacting the victim and offering protection for a fee. Source reported that Eric Blank Wright, also known as Eazy-E, who owned Ruthless Records, Woodland Hills, California, was a victim of this extortion scheme prior to dying from AIDS. Blank had also reportedly targeted Tupac Shakur to his recent unaliving in Las Vegas. So I'm assuming that the redacted part is supposed to say Diddy or Sean Combs. Okay, that's what I'm assuming. So what does this remind you of? Does this not remind you of Kid Cudi and what happened with Kid Cudi's car? Zenso said, Pac, no. Okay. That is Ashley Say So. That's who's talking. That's who's Ashley says so. All right. But does that not remind you of that kind of like gangster-like activity where he gets mad because he finds out that Cassie's messing around with somebody else, so he decide that he's gonna intervene, he's gonna bomb his car, right? It's not the exact same thing, but so basically what they were doing was threatening Eazy-E and some other people, okay? And then on the back end, like, look here, I heard you being threatened. I could offer you protection for a fee. When they the ones that was threatening them in the first place. Like, that's cold.
Wasn't nobody trying to hurt them and trying to murder them except that organization itself. And so they told the organization, no, that's cool. We don't need your protection. We'll be fine. And very soon after that, Eazy-E died of AIDS, which people in the know, especially former people who used to work for the FBI who were in the know, felt like was committed by the organization because Eazy-E wouldn't pay them for protection. So now that Eazy-E is gone, how can they get Tupac? Oh, I know.
Now, listen to that. So when we talk about Eazy-E suddenly dying of AIDS, when we talk about Tupac is gone, when we talk about Biggie is gone, when we talk about Kim Porter is gone, when we talk about, oh my gosh, the other names is slipping. But it seems like a lot of people that were associated with Diddy turn up missing, or they die of some mysterious illness. Okay, I'll Be Sure just happened to survive. I don't think he was supposed to survive. Heavy D, that's what I was thinking of. Y'all saw Heavy D. You saw the clip when Diddy was with Heavy D. But this mysterious deaths started potentially, allegedly, with Eazy-E. Okay, it would have been no thing for them to stick him with an infected needle, and there you go. You understand what I'm saying? Are y'all following me?
Don't this guy Tupac already have this big beef going on with that East Coast rapper Notorious B.I.G.? How about we just set the murder up to make it look like the cause of it was the West Coast and East Coast beef? hey Frankie, get so-and-so in New York on the phone and tell him I want to speak to his main enforcer, that rapper Puff Daddy. And so allegedly the big suits talked to Puffy and told him that they would pay him very well and they would make sure that he would have continued success in the music industry if he would set up the murder of Tupac. And so,
baby, again, this is all alleged, okay? But can y'all tell me why Diddy is looking like a whole demon in this photo? Can y'all tell me why he's looking like a whole devil in this picture? Okay, like, is this around the time that he sold his soul to the devil? Because I done heard rumors that Diddy was involved with Illuminati, that he was doing rituals that involve young boys, and that they would do things to these young boys to try to keep themselves young. All type of nasty craziness, okay? Zenso said, yup, Suge Knight said it during an interview about Eazy-E. He sure did. Anyway, let's keep going. But damn it if Diddy don't look like the devil right there, okay? Why would his eyes be glowing like that? I'm trying to figure out, okay? I understand that he's got these tinted glasses, okay? But look at the dude behind him. Look at Biggie. Biggie's glasses, there's a little bit of a glare from the flash. Whoever took this photo, there was a flash, right? I've heard of people who are losing their eyesight. Their eyes will reflect back like a glow. I don't think Diddy's losing his eyesight. I find that very strange that his eyes are glowing like a damn demon. And somebody was talking about it in the chat. Y'all were talking. So Kia said baby oil in his eyes. Maybe, I don't know. Somebody was talking about it in the chat about the movie Sinners. Okay, there is a scene in the movie where their eyes glow like this. Now their glow is a little bit more red, but this is really scary, like on some for real. Where is she getting this info from? She cites some of her sources, but some of the information that she's talking about has been said by other people from way back in the 90s, from people who were around Diddy at that time. All right, but again, this is all alleged. If you want to know her specific sources, you have to reach out to old girl directly. That's why I have allegedly on here. But I'm going to tell you, I have heard a lot of what she has said before, because I grew up in New York. And although I was, a teenager, I was all over the streets of Harlem, and people talk. People do talk. But anyway, and so basically she's repeating not the narrative that Diddy wanted to put out, and not the narrative that the news article, news outlets put out, but from people who were actually there.
Allegedly, the organization gave Diddy $1 million to get a couple of gangsters who lived in California or on the West Coast to commit the murder. And the folks say Diddy knew exactly what gangsters to use because the gangsters had provided security at one of his shows on the West Coast. And according to the conspiracy, those gangsters were Keffy D and Orlando Anderson, or AKA Baby Lane.
Okay, do y'all remember the whole Keffy D situation? I'm not going to go into it now, but it's Keffy D, Keefed. I can't remember his real legal name, but Keffy D has come out and said several times that it was Puff that ordered the unaliving of Pac and paid him $1 million to do it. I believe it was $1 million, and actually wrote a check for $1 million to do it. Y'all just look it up. Look here, I'll put it in the chat. Y'all can look it up later. Look up Keffy D. All right, and what he said about Tupac and Biggie.
There were also a couple of
Tupac and Diddy
gangsters involved, but those were the main two that Diddy was in contact with. So anyway, the conspiracy claims that the gangsters do away with Tupac and everything is smooth for a little while. But about 1.5 years after Tupac was gone, Orlando Anderson can't stop talking about what he did to Tupac and how he was gonna always get away with it, talking too much. Because see, that organization was starting to get nervous. What if this boy talks so much that he tells people that Puffy paid them to kill him? Get him gone, get him out of here. And so, 2 years after Tupac was murdered, Orlando Anderson was murdered. And according to rumors on the streets, the two other gangsters who were with Orlando Anderson and Keffe D, they also were allegedly murdered within the next 5 to 10 years after Tupac's death. So that just leaves Keffe D. And Keffe D most likely could have skated off into the sunset, but Keffe D's money got low and he wanted a check. So he started to do the same thing that Orlando Anderson did all those years before. He started talking, doing interviews, writing books, probably even made a mixtape about it. Who knows? All I can tell you is that as soon as he starts doing all of that, boom, alleged evidence is found that ties Keffe D to the murder of Tupac. Keffe D goes to jail, and what's the first thing he starts screaming? Well, yeah, I mean, I was a part of the plan to kill Tupac, but it was Diddy who gave me $1 million to do it.
And that part, okay, is this familiar to y'all? Because somebody was asking, where is she getting this information from? She's getting it from the people who were there, people who were talking. And once again, we have people, Orlando Anderson and other people who were turning up missing, who are ended up in a coffin. Okay. Why does this see? And this is what, well, God, what's this child's name? Anyway, but this is what a lot of other people were talking about, specifically Jaguar Wright. She's been talking about a lot of this for a long time, but she's been put into the conspiracy theory category. She's a little nutso category. She's a little jealous category, but a lot of what she had been saying is coming out.
If this conspiracy about the true culprit being an organization who put Diddy up to it, then Keffe D might need to shut his mouth. But who knows? Maybe we should just keep on believing that it was Diddy all by himself that paid these people $1 million to get rid of Tupac, simply basically due to some East Coast and West Coast beef. But let's put our thinking caps on and move on. Now, the next conspiracy alleges that Diddy and some of the higher ups also may have had a hand in Biggie getting on up out of here. See, the rumor has it that Biggie was about to leave BADBOY for another label. And so, no, we can't have that, losing one of our biggest rappers to another label. But we also can't or won't pay him any more money than we're already paying him. But psh, Diddy, come here. I'll tell you a way that the man can make us even more money. Take his behind off the planet and watch how much his music sells after that. Watch how much merchandise with Biggie's name and face sells after that. Memory sales make a lot of money, baby.
Okay, can you say that part one more time? But we ain't got time, so I can't roll it back. Listen, what lies are being told? Y'all just tell me what lies are being told.
A lot of times, the celebrity is worth more dead than alive, especially if they're past their prime. In Biggie's case, he wasn't past his prime, but he was trying to leave. But again, all of this is just a conspiracy. Another crime that Diddy allegedly did at the behest of someone else was in the year 1998, or it may have been 1999, when he was working with Steve Stout of Interscope Records. They were working together for Nas's music video for a song called Hate Me Now. So allegedly, Steve Stout, Diddy, and Nas all agreed on the visuals of the video. You know, everything looked good. But right before the video was to be released to the public, Diddy called and told Steve Stout, hey man, I changed my mind. I don't agree with the video anymore. I don't want Nas acting like Jesus nailed up to some cross. I don't want no reference of Jesus in this video, so get rid of it. And Steve Stout was like, dude, we're about to release this video and we already spent $14,000. Said Diddy told him, I told you to take it out. Well, the video aired and Diddy looked at that doggone TV and he saw that Steve Stout hadn't changed a thing. Baby, them folks say that Steve Stout was in the middle of a company meeting telling some, Helen, come on up, help me with these charts. They said that doggone chart he was reading came across the back of his doggone head. Girl, they say that Diddy and his crew walked in there and body slammed that man on the table, threw him on the floor, kicking him, stomping him all on his head. And according to the conspiracy, Puffy or Diddy took it this far because it wasn't just him that wanted Jesus out of the music video. It was some other people who were positioned above Diddy. And because Diddy failed to get Steve Stout to remove the imagery.
Okay, let me just read this. So Steve Stout, do you guys remember this? Okay. Because she does have some receipts in here. Steve Stout of Interscope was reportedly beaten over a scene in Nas Hate Me Now. I remember this. Steve Stout, a longtime exec at Interscope, has accused Diddy of assaulting him in 1999 per a report from Radar Online. And if you go back to Radar and you look at Diddy's kind of like rap sheet of like the trouble that he got in, this incident is listed. According to Stout, Diddy, I can't see it, blanked him following a disagreement on the set of Nas Hate Me Now video, reportedly had a change of heart about being nailed to a cross in the theme video. Stout objected to the change, giving that the scene had, you know, whatever. Diddy's idea, and Stout has spent $14,000 to make it happen. So that's what happened. They had already spent the money. The video had already, it was done. It was already done. So you talking about go back and fix it. So per the Inquirer and the police report, Diddy and two bodyguards physically assaulted Stout in his office after the scene was not removed. So Diddy's like, nah, you got to fix that. You got to take that out. And he decided that he wasn't going to take it out and didn't even say anything to Diddy. Diddy found out like how everybody else found out, okay? And Diddy stormed in and beat the brakes off of Mr. Stout.
Diddy was going to be punished also. And Steve Stout actually pressed charges against Diddy because he was upset that Diddy did him like this. But once he found out that it wasn't just Diddy who had wanted everything removed from that doggone video, apparently it spooked him so bad that he dropped the charges. Now, these are the public crimes that Diddy allegedly committed for his handlers or other people. But the private crimes he committed, the ones that's sitting up there finna blow your hair back. Because I want to make something clear to you guys. There are two sides to Diddy's alleged criminal activity. There's the side of the crimes that Diddy did on his own behalf for his own personal reasons, and then there's the side of the private crimes that he did for the behalf of the handlers.
Okay, so this is interesting because Diddy's currently on trial for RICO, okay, criminal enterprise organization for violence. You know, he has a history of this. You know, I hope the prosecution is paying attention to social media. I hope, because they need some help after this last filing for a mistrial, which doesn't mean it's going to be granted. Okay, they've been trying to file for a mistrial on Diddy's trial since day one. But y'all remember he set up Shine for the nightclub shooting. Shine was very, very talented. There's no reason why this man should have taken the fall for what Diddy did. But he did, and he did time. He went to jail, and Shine's record never came out.
And first, let's talk about some of the private crimes that Diddy did on a personal level. And many of these crimes happened in his romantic relationships. See, there is a new book out alleged to be partly written by Diddy's deceased ex-girlfriend, Kim Porter. And that book alleges that Diddy was very possessive of Kim. Said that one time he thought she was cheating on him and he bust her upside the head with a chair. It also claimed that one time he wanted Kim to do him inside of his booster and she refused and he bust upside the head for that. The book even alleges that Kim saw footage of Diddy messing around with men, but even more than that, allegedly she saw footage of Diddy messing around with underage boys.
Okay, now listen, I have a whole video on this channel. You guys can look for it. You'll see the thumbnail with the picture of Kim Porter where I do a reading of this book that came out. Now, it's interesting about this book because when the memoir came out, the family denied it. Even I'll Be Sure denied it because he's in it. He's in it. Mary J. Blige is in it. And the things that Kim Porter allegedly said that Diddy did and who he did it with, and Kim Porter was also doing some stuff too. Okay, she was swinging to the left, but she was also swinging to the right. Okay, she was going both ways, a little bit fluid, if you get my meaning, right? So there were a lot of things that happened in that book. And I said it back then. I believed that what was written in that book was based on some notes or something that she had started writing and didn't finish. And the family denied it. And so did I'll Be Sure because they didn't want the truth to come out and they were embarrassed. But anyway, if you guys are interested in that, what I will do is I will add I'll add a link to that video and I'll put it up once the live is over.
Some people claim that the book said that Diddy was messing with an 18-year-old unnamed pop star, male pop star, and they also said that the book claimed that Diddy was also messing with an unnamed...
That looked like Justin Bieber. I'm just saying.
...high-profile rapper. It talked about how Diddy forced Kim to...
That looked like Meek, but anyway.
...participate in threesomes. But check me out. As bad as things were for Kim, they were said to be even worse for any man who tried to love her the right way or take her away from the pain. Rumor has it that record executive Shakir Stewart had a relationship with Kim Porter in the 1990s. But by the year 2000, Diddy and Kim were alleged to be together. Well, rumor has it, in that same year of 2000, Diddy and Kim Porter flew to Italy to attend L.A. Reid's wedding, and Shakir Stewart was also there.
Baby, why does Diddy got to steal women? Every woman that Diddy has ever had, he stole from somebody else, okay? Stole Kim Porter from Shakir Stewart. Stole Cassie from, I forgot the name of the dude that she was dating at the time. Some of y'all probably know it, but y'all know who I'm talking about, okay? Somebody that worked on Diddy's team. She was dating him, and then Diddy just was like, nah, you with me now, okay? He started dating J-Lo, but wasn't she also dating somebody at the time that he started dating J-Lo? Like, he has to exert his power, like, I could take your woman type of situation. That is so high school.
I guess Shakir had done some flirting with Kim at the ceremony and then allegedly later on sent her flowers to her room to kind of try to lure her back into a relationship with him. Well, baby, the story says later on that night, Shakir was sitting in his hotel room waiting to see if Kim was going to visit him. They say the door burst open and it was Diddy coming to see him. Baby said Diddy came into the room screaming and yelling like a madman and picked up a chair and broke it over Shakir Stewart's head and left Shakir on the floor bleeding and told Shakir, if I find out that you're trying to talk to Kim anymore, I'ma kill you. Well, check me out. After this incident, Dim and Kitty continued to date on and off, but in the year 2007, the folks say that Kim Porter finally called it quits for real because she found out that year before, in 2006, when she was pregnant with her twins, Jesse James and Delilah Starr, Diddy had a mistress that was named Sarah Chapman that was also pregnant at the very same time, and she ended up giving birth to a daughter named Chance. So like I said, Kim ended up finding out about it that next year in 2007. She threw her hands up and she was done. Well, according to rumor, Diddy either heard or he thought that Kim was getting her broken heart comforted by her ex Shakir Stewart again. And baby said not even 6 months to a year later, Shakir Stewart ended up laid out on his bathroom floor with a gunshot wound to the head. And so if this is true, that Diddy didn't mind taking out people who tried to date Kim or mess around with Kim, then this really answers the questions that people were asking when they were like, ugh, look at Kim Porter, she is just so pretty.
But wait a minute. Doesn't that sound like what happened with Cassie Ventura? I'm just saying, it sounds like it to me. Okay? It sounds, because Kid Cudi testified that, Diddy, and so did Cassie, that Diddy threatened to blow up his vehicle, and was his vehicle not blown up? And did oh God, I can't say her name. Capricorn Clark. Say that fast 3 times. Capricorn Clark. Did she not say that she was forced to go there and, his door was kicked in and they done scared the damn dog and threw the dog in the bathroom for who knows how long or whatnot? Dog don't know what's going on. Again, all of what we're seeing now, what we're learning now, can be tied back to Diddy's past.
Like, why won't she get with anybody else? She just sitting around just kind of like waiting for Diddy to choose her or something. She's sitting up there getting disrespected left and right. So why won't she just get with somebody else? Because the woman was probably scared that if she got with somebody else, then that somebody else might be deleted off of this earth. And if you're wondering why people were saying it seemed like she was just waiting for her turn, is because, see, by this time, Diddy was now allegedly in a relationship with the singer Cassie. But get this, Cassie was only 19 and Diddy was in his 30s. And just like Diddy was alleged to be with Kim Porter, he was very possessive over Cassie as well. According to Cassie's lawsuit, Diddy sexually abused her. He forced her to take drugs. He even made her sleep with different men in his crew. She had to participate in orgies. And I know y'all know about the physical abuse he was doing to her. Heck, you can pretty much see that on videotape. And just like it was with Kim Porter, when another man stepped in and tried to comfort Cassie and show her a better life, Diddy allegedly tried to get rid of him too, and I am talking about the rapper Kid Cudi. Gossip claims at some point during his and Cassie's relationship, they were at an off point and she started talking to Kid Cudi, and allegedly Diddy had explosives planted under Kid Cudi's car. Baby, the folks say that the car blew up in Kid Cudi's driveway. And to continue talking about how Diddy treated people that he was with in personal romantic relationships, there's a woman allegedly who goes by the name Virginia V, and she alleged that she ended up getting pregnant with Diddy's child.
That's Gina Home.
And he was trying to make her get an abortion, and she didn't want to. So, baby, Virginia said that Diddy stumped the baby out of her. So how does a man get this sadistic? How does a man turn into a monster of this caliber? Could it be that this man was brought into this industry by a bunch of people who were monsters themselves? Now, I've already told you about the rumor of Andre Harrell and Diddy, and I told you that one of the rumors that was going around was that Andre kind of forced Diddy to do the things he did in order for Diddy to move up in the industry. But the rumors on the streets say that's what Andre wanted. Baby, they said that in order for Diddy to get Bad Boy Records, that man had to be passed around to many people. And one of the first names people always throw out there is Clive Davis. But see, per the rumor, or allegedly, Clive not only made Diddy do the Diddy with him, he also allegedly, according to the conspiracy theories, mentored Diddy in the art of blackmail and extortion, along with those hitman type crimes that I was talking about earlier. And this right here leads us to the rumors about those infamous freak-off parties. Okay. Because see, according to the conspiracy theories, when Diddy first started hosting those freak-off parties, he wasn't doing that for his own pleasure. Heck, he wasn't even doing it for himself. According to the conspiracy, Diddy was taught to host a so-called freak-off party purely for the intention of blackmail and ritual purposes for his handlers. See, I need y'all to listen and follow me closely real quick because it's levels to this thing. See, most people feel like the parties where Diddy was rumored to have done something with Usher, he was rumored to have done something at a party with Justin Bieber, Meek Mill, a lot of people feel like that was a part of the elite or Diddy's handlers making him do that to them. No, baby, according to the conspiracy, those are the parties that Diddy threw himself. Those are the parties where he fancied himself one of the elites, one of the handlers, people up here. See, that's the reason why you can go online and see Meek Mill sitting in a pool and Diddy walking up recording him, calling him daddy after a so-called night or alleged night of Thunder Buddy. And that's the reason that you can pull up a clip of Justin Bieber allegedly on his knees, bent down in front of Odell Beckham doing some stuff where Diddy is alleged to be recording that. That's the reason where you can watch a clip of Diddy basically talking about how when Usher was younger, Usher used to live with him and Usher used to wake up in the morning in the bed and start wrestling with each other over a bowl of cereal. That's the reason you can see clips of TD Jakes or allegedly TD Jakes two-stepping at a Diddy party. You see evidence of these clips because allegedly, according to the conspiracy, once again, these are situations or parties where Diddy was the mastermind. There most likely was possibly blackmail, extortion, or whatever else going on involved. But that was because Diddy wanted to. Like I said, he himself was acting as a handler. And these parties allegedly came much later in Diddy's career. But according to the conspiracy, the freak-offs or the parties that the elite or the handlers made Diddy host had been happening for several years before these parties, baby. And you won't see a shred of evidence or video clips of these so-called parties.
That part. okay? Diddy have videos on everybody, okay? Let me take this down so y'all can see me. Diddy have videos on everybody. Now, do you guys remember, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it, but when y'all get a chance after the live, look up the video recently with Clive Davis. This was, I think, from early this year when they asked Clive Davis what he thought about Diddy and the whole situation. He like, huh? Now, I know Clive Davis is in his 80s, but baby, stop acting like you don't know who Diddy is. He was like, huh? They were like, Diddy, what do you think about Diddy? He just kind of did that, put the one finger up like, I gotta go, and got in his vehicle and kept it pushing. He didn't want to say nothing about no Diddy, okay?
And these are the true hidden tapes. These tapes ain't got no rinky-dink celebrities on them. No singers, actresses, reality stars, anything like that. That's Rudy Poo. Big-time elites and handlers and execs ain't worried about getting no blackmail off of these celebrities. I mean, they do blackmail them, you know, but that's not their main concern. No, honey, they won't blackmail on politicians. Blackmail on people that's over the tech industry. Blackmail on Nobel
Wait a minute.
Peace.
Can you say that again? One more again, okay? Because somebody just mentioned it in the chat. Okay, I'll put it there. That's the quick.
It's not their main concern.
Okay. Who do y'all see? Who is that? Felon 45? Y'all are funny. Okay? Yes, I do honestly believe we might have to poll that. So with our current poll, did Janice groom Diddy? 95% of y'all said yes. I'm gonna go ahead and end this poll because I want y'all to answer. I want to do another poll. Do you guys think that Diddy has dirt on Donald Trump? Does Diddy have, let's say dirt, okay, dirt, i.e. a video, okay? Video, all right, on Donald. I'm just gonna put DJT, okay? I'll put Donald. Okay. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? Okay, y'all tell me what y'all think. Does Diddy have dirt on Donald Trump? Let's keep going.
Blackmail on people that's over the tech industry. Blackmail on Nobel Peace Prize winners. They won't blackmail on folks that's over the medical system. Powerful people. People that control the masses. Let me give you an example. And I'm not saying this is happening because it's not. I'm going to just say it's not, okay? So I'm not saying this is happening, but let me give you an example of what I'm trying to say. Let's say somebody comes up with a medication that can cure any disease. Nobody has to be sick again. Let's say that happens. And that person comes to the head of the medical system and says, here, I got a medication when nobody can ever be sick again. And so the head of the medical system is about to put out this wonder drug to the masses. But before he does, he gets a phone call. And the phone call comes from someone who makes money from headache medicine or runny nose medicine. It doesn't matter what type of medicine. They make money off of some type of illness that you have. They don't want no doggone wonder drug to come out and clear up an illness. Nobody has to get sick again. They don't want that because that takes their funds away. And so they tell that person over the medical system, hey, Bobby, man, I see you. You've been doing a great job. I love how you've been running everything. But listen, Bobby, I want to talk about my company at this party that this rapper Puff Daddy is having later on. Either one or two things is going to happen that night. It all depends on the personality of the person who's over the medical health care.
All right, y'all, pay attention to this part because this is where it gets real.
System. If they're laid back and chill and the family person, they're going to go to Diddy's house, and the so-called freak off or party is not going to be anything like we've been reading about. It's going to be where everybody's having dinner around the table. People are drinking champagne, you know. It's going to match that person. But if the head of the medical system is a rowdy person that likes to party and do drugs and stuff like that, he's going to go to the party that Diddy is hosting, and it's going to look like those freak-offs we've been reading about. Either way it goes, while this person is at this Diddy party, a young underage boy or girl is going to be escorted into the party, and if it's that calm and collected type medical person, and if it's that calm and collected, chilled, married type medical person, they're gonna find themselves just drinking champagne and all of a sudden falling asleep. If it's that wild, crazy, and bad one that likes to do terrible things, somebody most likely is going to come up to them and whisper in their ear, hey dude, I know you're enjoying the party, but it's this, I got something in the back for you, ready for you in that bed. You can go on back there and do what you got to do. Whichever way it goes, that next morning, that person that's the head of the medical system is going to wake up, and they're going to find themselves in bed with an underage boy or girl, and Diddy or somebody else, but most likely Diddy, since he's the host, is going to walk in with a video camera playing back what happened in that bed that night. And Diddy, or whoever it is that has the video camera, is going to tell him, you see this right here? This means that you're going to take that wonder drug that was offered to you that can heal any sickness anybody got. You're going to take that and you're going to stuff that. And you're never going to bring it up again. You definitely ain't going to release it to the public. Because if you release it to the public, I'm going to release this to the public. And so that head medical person has officially been blackmailed by the person that owns the headache medicine or the sinus medicine or something like that. And like I said, I just use this as an example. I'm just saying that's what the conspiracy theories say. And
now, does that make sense to y'all? Are y'all understanding what she said? So we got a poll going right now that says, does Diddy have dirt on Donald Trump? Okay, 82% of y'all says yes, they believe he's got something. But this is exactly what she is talking about. Okay, examples just like that. So this is how they control what happens with the higher ups. Now, I don't want to get biblical on you, but there is a scripture that says that there is spiritual wickedness in high places. This is an example of what that scripture is talking about. We making money over here and you talking about a miracle drug. So we're going to go ahead and invite you to a party and put you in a situation because, see, we know what you like. You like young girls, I'm going to bring a young girl. You like young boys, I'm going to bring a young boy, put him in the bed with you, okay? I'm going to go ahead and hit you up with that ketamine, that Molly. I'm going to hit you up with that E. I'm going to hit you up with that C, okay? I'm going to hit you up with whatever it is that you like. And then you going to wake up the next day in bed. Okay, evidence every doggone where, powder everywhere, white stuff under your nose and carrying on. And I got pictures and video of it. So if you release that to the public, I'm going to release this to the public. That's how it go, right? That's how people get controlled. That, yes, Nestor Shackle Shuffle Walker James said a mess. But this is how it goes. And that's a great example because I honestly do believe, now this is a conspiracy theory, but I heard, that, first of all, I heard that there was a quote unquote cure for HIV way before it finally came out. It came out eventually, but way before. I also heard that there is currently, again, this is a conspiracy theory, okay, it's allegedly, that they already have cures for diseases like cancer. But do you know how much money they're making off of cancer patients who have to get chemotherapy? And those people, and then they're able to bill insurance and stuff like that. So this is an example of how that happens. And using that same tactic is probably how Diddy was able to control people. Now, again, let's bring it on back and let's relate this back to Cassie Ventura. Okay, let's relate it back to the current case. So when Cassie and these victims are asked dumbass questions like, well, why did you stay? Why didn't you leave? And Cassie says, well, because he had videos on me. And if I didn't do these freak offs, and these parties and these hospital, Lord have mercy, these hotel dates and these debaucheries, he would release the video of me, right? So there you go. Once again, it kind of puts things into perspective.
They say it's the same for everything. Let's say somebody tries to pass a law that says we're going to give every American $5,000 every month. Well, if you give Americans $5,000 every month, and now that takes away from them showing up to their job or performing at their job, most likely that politician that's trying to pass the law is going to get an invite to a Diddy party. And if not a Diddy party, a party from somebody else who's in cahoots with this whole doggone thing. So that's what I'm saying when I say the conspiracy says that the elites or the handlers are interested in real blackmail from people who have power. All of this stuff about, oh, I'm watching the Katy Perry video and her eye is covered, so she's a part of the Illuminati. Oh my gosh, this person has a triangle on their hoodie, so they're part of the Illuminati. All that stuff is child's play, baby.
You better talk about it. What she say? She said it's child's play. Ultimately what she's talking about when she talks about these conspiracy theories is that these handlers, the higher ups, these executives, the people with the real power, see, Diddy is a puppet. Okay, they needed somebody like a Diddy to kind of do their dirty work for him, right? So Diddy is really merely a puppet. They needed somebody like a Diddy. So they find somebody that they can control. They give them a little bit of power. And so I give you this, but I need you to do that. Okay. Diddy did the same thing, allegedly, if we believe Jane Doe's testimony, right? We believe Jane Doe's testimony. And so I'm going to pay. I talked about this the other night. I'm going to pay your rent. Okay. How much in of allowance do you want? 15 grand. Okay. Make it 10. All right. I'm going to give you $10,000 a month. Okay. And that's going to cover, your living expenses. Do what you want. She chose to get a house that costs $10,000 a month. Cause trust me, I wouldn't have done that. I would have maybe did, half or 3,000 or 4,000 and used the rest to live off of. But anyway, and by the way, he's still paying her rent allegedly. But anyway, that's according to what she said. My point is, I'm going to give you this, but you have to do that. If you want to keep this, you have to do that. So we're going to give you Bad Boy, but we're going to need you to do some Bad Boy stuff. Okay. We might need you to get rid of some people. We might need you to cause a conflict between the East Coast and the West Coast. It started with Eazy-E and then it escalated from there. And Diddy's been doing this for so long and he's been getting away with it. And now all of his dirty laundry from, you're talking about 2 decades plus back is being aired.
All that stuff is a diversion for you guys to look at the celebrity while the real control is going on over here on stuff that really affects the people in this world. It's all a conspiracy. So let's move on. To finally get back on track to the regular story, allegedly it was parties like these that Diddy had been made to do for years. And I guess because Diddy saw how that worked, he liked the fact that these people up at the top had all this power. And I guess he wanted to feel some type of power himself. And so he started throwing his own parties and doing his own blackmail. And there's this whole big idea floating around that every single party or something that Diddy threw, they feel like he was forcing the guests to come in there and do things. But not all of them parties was like that, baby, them so-called freak-offs. See, everybody that came wasn't drugged and forced to do nothing. A lot of these men and women in the industry are simply just bisexual or gay, period, point blank. In fact, because of the nature of some of the rumors, let's talk about the men real quick. Some of these celebrities, singers and actors and ball players and stuff like that have a masculine or manly image and they just can't be themselves in public. But then here comes Diddy telling these guys, hey, bro, you invited to my next party, bro. Come on, man. It's dudes only, men only, bro. I know what you into. Trust me, man. You can come over there and let your hair down, man. And then everybody gonna be there. You can just take your pick of who you want. And so these celebrity men who are secretly gay would take Diddy up on his offer and they would come to his house and do whatever they wanted. And this is why you have that rumor or that statement from Diddy's alleged drug dealer that said that he walked in the house and he saw a bunch of celebrity men in there just doing each other pretty much. Nobody forced these men to do nothing. They did it because they wanted to do it, and that's fine. The only thing that made it not fine was Diddy himself.
Okay, because Diddy be doing the most, all right? So one of the things the guy talked about, he said Diddy opened the door to his former Hamptons mansion while wearing nothing but a robe and brought him through the back bedroom to make a cocaina deal, a white powder deal. Now, many of you have heard this story before. You also heard, I've seen footage of Diddy sitting in a bathrobe, okay? French Montana coming out the back like he just came from upstairs with just shorts on and no shirt, and coming and sitting down, all right, and they having breakfast and stuff, and they barely got clothes on. The dealer said weird ish started to happen. Celebrity guys effing each other. There were back bedrooms, and it was like an inner sanctum. Okay, it was an inner whoredom. Okay, it was an inner brothel. Okay, best little whorehouse in the Hamptons.
Nobody forced these men to do nothing. They did it because they wanted to do it, and that's fine. The only thing that made it not fine was Diddy himself, because he would secretly record these men and use that footage to blackmail them later, just like gossip claims he did to Stevie J. According to rumors, Stevie J came over to Diddy's house or Diddy's party, and he got with some white boy and he did his thing, allegedly. They said it was consensual. I don't know, but as far as I heard the rumor goes, the white boy consented and it was a consensual encounter. Well, next thing you know, it was found out that Diddy allegedly secretly recorded Stevie J and this white boy doing this because he allegedly showed the footage to a young producer named Rodney Jones that he was trying to coerce into messing around with him. This is another story of alleged sexual assault. Gossip claims Rodney Jones is a young up-and-coming music producer that Diddy hired on to do his new music.
Okay, now let me just remind y'all that this mini doc, and we only got about 5 minutes left. This mini doc came out way before, you know, these the current lawsuits from 2024. I will have to go back and see exactly when it's over. We'll look and see when this was published.
But instead of Diddy paying the boy with cash or money, gossip claims Diddy was trying to pay the boy with his stick. And per the story, Rodney told Diddy that he wasn't interested. He didn't get down like that. The rumor has it Diddy was so eager to try to get this young man to do some things with him, he pulled out that video I was talking about just a second ago and was like, see, hey, didn't you say you looked up to Stevie J? See, even Stevie J do it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does it, man.
Okay, listen. Diddy is like, you know, the person that you warn your kids when they're young, listen, don't let nobody pressure you into doing something that you don't want to do, okay? You know, if they want to do rugs, you let them do it. You ain't got to do it. You know what I'm saying? They want to get high, they can get high. You ain't got to. You could just sit there and be chill. They want to drink and get drunk. You ain't got to do it. Nah, look, because everybody's doing it. Look, even Stevie J is doing it. What did Diddy do with Little Rod? He had Little Rod living in his studio. Okay, he gave him a place to stay and whatnot. He didn't have to pay no rent and this, that, and the third. And see, that's what Diddy does. Diddy set people up to be dependent on him financially so he can control them. I'm just saying, all right? And this is too much for me to read on the screen, but y'all can see what's there. I'm not going to read it. Y'all heard what she said. But anyway, yeah, so that's basically what he was doing. He was like, look, we all do it. It's normal practice. This is what Little Rod is saying that Diddy said. This is a normal practice in the music industry. Look, even Stevie J is doing it. Like, wow. And this dude is like, nah, I don't get down. I don't get down like that. Diddy promised to make Little Rod promise that he was gonna help him or make sure that I'll help you get producer of the year. I'm telling you, if you just party with me, you know, just party with me this one time. You know what I'm saying? I promise you're gonna like it. You just gotta try it. Say no to Diddy.
It's okay. And so per Rodney, he continued to tell Diddy that no, you know, he just wasn't comfortable. He didn't want to do it. Well, he claims that one night Diddy threw a party, said he got something to drink, and next thing you know, he passed out and woke up the next morning with no clothes on in the bed with Diddy and like 2 other people. And this story right here is really just the tip of the iceberg of what Rodney Jones was saying. Allegedly, he also said that Diddy was trying to pass him off to Cuba Gooding Jr. so Cuba Gooding Jr. could get some stuff going on. And if I'm not mistaken, Rodney Jones is another one that claimed that he saw underage people attend a Diddy's party. And another person who made this claim about underage boys and girls was Diddy's bodyguard, a man by the name of Gene Deal. He said not only did he see underage girls at Diddy's party, allegedly Gene Deal said he saw Diddy putting drugs into these girls' drinks and giving it to them and waiting for the girls to pass out. And I believe, so I'm gonna just say allegedly, he also said that he saw Diddy kind of force these girls to mess with everybody. You know what I'm saying? The whole crew. And it's really just a lot. It's a lot against Diddy. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that people are saying against Diddy. You got these stories of people saying that he forced these sex workers to get full up of drugs and sleep with people all night doing orgies and dancing and drugs and stuff, that they're so worn out the next morning that he hooks them up to an IV just so they can have energy to get through the next day, where when that night came back around, they would have to do the same thing all over again. Kind of like they were just trapped in a cycle. Matter of fact, this guy named Jonathan Oddie said that he was Diddy's sex slave for a while. Said that Diddy kept chopping him up in the booster part and wouldn't let him leave. Like I said, if all of this stuff is true, even if it's just a little bit of truth to this stuff involving Diddy, it really just seems like he thought that he was untouchable and he was just like, just doing stuff. And if the conspiracies are true, like I said, it seems like he confused himself with his handler. But all I know is today, Diddy is locked behind bars. He also is on self-delete watch. A lot of people are like, you know, well, something probably gonna happen to him because he can take down a lot of folks. Jay-Z and Beyonce and all, honey, that ain't the half of it. Them handlers, them elites don't even probably care if he take down Jay-Z and Beyonce. That's not what they're worried about. They don't want him speaking on them real folks. But I'm going to just leave it alone because at the end of the day, I don't know what's true or false. Everything in the video is probably just one big lie. Who knows? But anyways, guys,
I love her. We going to stop right here. I love her. All right. That was Ashley Says So. I will put a link to the video. So those of you who want to go back and watch it uninterrupted without my commentary, you know, you're more than welcome to do that. I'll provide the link for you so you don't have to search for it, because I'm going to tell you something. The reason why it took me so long to drop this live is because I had found out about, I had stumbled onto that mini doc back in, when did I go to New Orleans? Shoot, September of last year. Then I forgot and I couldn't find it. So for the past like several weeks, I have been trying to find this. So this was published and oh, look at that. It was published September 23rd of 2024. Y'all know when I was in New Orleans? I was in New Orleans, I think from September 23rd to the 26th. So this was dropped the day that I landed in New Orleans. All right. So that's crazy, which is, you know, before, well, it would have been, yeah, it would have been before or not too long after Diddy was arrested. So it was after the initial lawsuits and stuff like that. I got my timeline wrong because I'm confusing this year with last year. But anyway, what's going on, Leo lady? Jam says she said a whole lot. Like she sure did. Jam said I have to sub her. Yeah, please subscribe to her channel. All right. She has really great content, but this particular video really caught my eye because it took a lot of what I had seen, a little bit here, a little bit there, and kind of put it all in one space. All right. So that's why I wanted to show this to you. And the first documentary, if you guys are interested in that, was by Black Americana. All right. But anyway, so 80% of you think that Diddy does have dirt on the Donald. And so it may be possible that Diddy may try to use that dirt on Donald if Donald is not willing to give him a pardon. He may have to force a pardon, because if Diddy is reaching out to Donald Trump, he's worried, and he should be worried, because I don't think he's going to be able to win that case. But anyway, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We're right around the 2-hour mark, and I'm trying to keep the lives not too far over 2 hours. But continue to give me your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know what you think about some of what you heard in the documentary. Any thoughts on whether you do believe that in terms of Diddy being groomed and him learning what ultimately became an escalation into predatory behavior, blackmail, and this sexual perversion and the prostitution and the trafficking and all that other kind of stuff. Did he learn that in his own household about the freak offs and, you know, how you can manipulate people, you know, with money? Because I'm pretty sure that, you know, they had cameras, not security cameras, but it's a possibility that, you know, Janice Combs might have been taking photos of people who were at her parties and holding on to them just in case she needed a little something, okay? Just in case she needed her son's tuition paid. You know what I'm saying? And no, this photo right here disturbs me so bad, okay? Because why are their eyes closed? I mean, they really look like they going in, and you're not going to convince me that Janice Combs wasn't doing something with her own son. She was single for a little while after the father died. She was bringing the girls, but it's not she was a madam. It's not ever said that she was participating and doing things herself. But I wonder if she was doing stuff with her own son. I don't know. But yeah. So there we have it. Most of you guys agreed that it definitely started with Janice and escalated from there. M. Alfred said, I enjoyed the way you broke it down. Thanks. Well, thank you so much for joining. And to all of those of you who were on the live, appreciate you being here. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, set your notifications to all so that you can be the first to know whenever I go live or drop a video. M. Alfred says, why would you kiss your mom like that? I don't understand. I don't understand half the stuff that Diddy does, but apparently he was exposed to some stuff very early. Why would you say that your mom, you know, you go to strip clubs with her and that she's single, ready to mingle, and that, you know, she can bend over and palm the floor? Like, that's not typical information that a young male, and I say young because I mean I don't necessarily consider Diddy old, even though he's looking like he's 80 years old now, but that's not something that a man does when it comes to his mother. You're supposed to protect your mother. All right. Zenso, last comment. Totally believe he was groomed by mom, the church next, and then the industry. And that comment right there sums it all up. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Be safe, be at peace, and keep your eyes and your ears to these YouTube streets, baby. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, y'all.